In this video, I'm going to show you how to see company engagement data within LinkedIn ads. So this is great if you're running account-based marketing, or if you're just running LinkedIn ads in general, you can see this data. My name is Mitchell Gould. I run LinkedIn ads for B2B tech and SaaS companies. And just a quick overview of this video, I'm going to go into actual account and show you what the company tab looks like. I'll do a quick overview of the company's tab, a couple scenarios that you want to be mindful of when you're looking at this data, and then some use cases on how you can action this data. So just to start off with doing a quick overview of the companies tab. So it shows the companies that you've reached via paid plus organic. So all the audiences you're targeting, you'll be able to see the companies listed in here. And it displays different metrics, and it allows you to filter on those metrics by different segments. And you can also export this list, and you can save dynamic or static list. So say you want to save a list of companies that have had over 100 impressions, you can save a dynamic list and use that in other campaigns. And the cool thing is it's 100% free and available in LinkedIn ads, and I'll show you some good use cases on how you can use this data. So just a couple of scenarios to be mindful of when you're reviewing this. So let's say you're targeting an account list. You have a few thousand companies that you're targeting on your list, and you're targeting marketing managers. So just as an example, so as you're reviewing this data, you may see company ABC and company AAA. So in this scenario, you're targeting a list of companies and ABC is on that list. But when you're reviewing the companies tab, you'll see company AAA showing. And that's because this person has multiple current present roles on their LinkedIn profile. So even though you're targeting company ABC and you're targeting marketing managers, this person is still eligible to show because they are a marketing manager at a different company, but they're also the founder at the company on your list. So sometimes you'll see different companies showing up because that person has multiple present roles. And a similar scenario here, if a little different scenario for the targeting criteria, but if you're targeting founders and company ABC is on your target list, and they're also an advisor at company BBB here, you may see company BBB show in your companies tab because this person has multiple present roles. So they are getting impressions and they do fit like your criteria, but because they have those present roles at other companies, those companies will also show. So that's just a couple quick scenarios. If you're seeing some companies that you didn't think you were targeting, why they might be in the companies tab. And now we're going to jump into the companies tab and we'll go through that. So to access the companies tab, you'll go to the plan section and then click companies. And here you can see the list of companies. You can see the engagement levels here. Now, engagement level, their definition, it's how much are people at this company that you're targeting engaging with your ads compared to other benchmarks on LinkedIn. So it's looking at organic impressions, organic engagements, paid impressions, and paid engagements. I've heard other people mention on LinkedIn that it also accounts on how active or how engaged they are with other ads that are showing on their feed. I haven't been able to validate that, but it is a good dimension to be able to filter on and see companies that are showing higher engagement compared to lower engagement. You can see organic impressions, organic engagements, your paid impressions, paid clicks, paid engagements, paid leads. So this is if you're running lead gen forms, the paid leads will show here. You can also see some attributes about the company. So company size, company industry, their company headquarters or the region, and then the associated company list that you have. So if you uploaded your ABM list of all the targeted accounts that you want to reach, maybe you entered a few different ones for different regions or verticals, you'll be able to see the associated list if you hover over these here. And then on the right hand side, this is where it gets really cool, is you can filter on different segments. So you can filter on engagement based off of the last 7 days up to 90 days here. You can filter on a specific company list. This is really nice to see specific companies showing based off the account list. And then you can see filter by campaign. You can only select one campaign at a time, and then you can filter based off engagement level. So say we wanted to only look at the very high engaged companies, we can apply that filter here. and look at those. And then the rest of these you can also filter on. Let's say paid impressions. We want to filter on very high engaged companies that also had, let's say, over 20 impressions. And we do this over the last 30 days here. So you can see we can begin to filter down on companies that meet specific criteria. You can also exclude specific companies by name, include companies, as well as look at country, company size, paid leads, paid clicks. So those are all the filters that you can use. And I will go into a couple of use cases on how you can go about using this data. But first, a couple quick things here is you can export this data here and save it as a CSV. You can also create match audiences. So say we wanted to create a audience specific to all these filters that we just made, and we want a company to enter into this list every time they meet this criteria. You can create a dynamic list. So it's always going to continue to update automatically based off of the criteria that you set for the list. Or you can just create a static list that's not going to update and create a match audience for that. So you can give it a name and then you can save that. And then you can go into your campaigns and you can select that new segment. So if you want to set up a specific segment and run a lead gen form just to these really high engaged companies, you can select that dynamic segment and test that out. I'll jump into a few actions that you can use with this. Some use cases that I've personally used with my clients. So the first scenario here, which is kind of similar to the second scenario, but you can target underexposed companies. So if there's a lot of companies that are getting low impressions and you have other companies that are getting a lot of impressions, maybe they're taking more of the budget in your campaign up. So you can create a segment for companies that are, say having less than 50 impressions in a month. And you can make that a dynamic list, and then you can set up a campaign specifically to target those companies to try to ensure that they get more impressions and more reach. And you can also create a dynamic list of companies that are getting a lot of impressions. So you can set a threshold of impressions. So if a company over a 7-day or a 30-day period has more than, X amount of impressions, let's exclude them from our campaigns. So we can make sure that underexposed companies are getting more impressions. That's similar kind of to the top one here, just two different ways to go about it. Create one campaign for underexposed companies using a dynamic list, or creating a dynamic list with really high exposed accounts and excluding that from your campaign. You can also double down on high engagement companies. So let's say you have a list of very high and high engagement companies. You can create a dynamic list for those and then target them in a bottom of funnel campaign. Maybe you target them with conversation ads and lead gen forms. And you can also use this data to share with sales on a regular cadence. Say it's every week, you can share with sales a list of very high engaged companies based off of the filters that you use. And that can be helpful if they're going to use those for any outbound strategies. And lastly, one I didn't type here, but I've also used it for attribution. So when we've had companies come into HubSpot through direct, I will check the company within the company's tab and see, have they been exposed to any of our ads? How much impressions do they have? And that can be helpful. They came in through another channel, but they were exposed to your ads if there was any influence there. There are other paid tools to help out with that, but if you're just starting off, it's a great free option to use. So if you want to see additional data and other metrics, like if you're running videos or more engagement metrics, spend, you can watch this video where I'll show you how to pull LinkedIn Ads data into Looker Studio so you can see more granular insights at the company level, as well as other professional demographic levels like the company size, performance by job title, which can be really helpful.